Hello, it's a glorious day and we're at the storage unit. George and I are going to tow Jackson to our favourite caravan site, but without Peta with us because she's working today, we're going to have to work out how to reverse the car onto the hitch without having to get out, in and out of the car too much. So my either genius or not idea is that I'm going to position George's phone here, facing down at where the hitch is, because Jackson's behind us. And then I'm going to do a WhatsApp video call to my phone in the car, which should hopefully guide me back. Let's see how it goes.
Hi.
Hello and welcome to Morn Hill. George and I are sitting outside Jackson. It is baking. In fact, it's a little less baking now than it was when I was stupid enough to put the awning up. But it's quite nice. I wanted to put it up for shelter really, and I think it might just do the trick. All of the side panels are open, but it would have been a lot easier if we just had a canopy awning. But there we go, can't have everything. So we have a little, well, firstly, George and I have managed to get here without Peta. Peta today is working at a local tourist attraction near Selborne, near Alton. She's helping them to run one of their open days. And this is going to be one of the last weeks that we can get away before we go on a week's holiday in a cottage, because we're traitors. And we like the idea of having our own bedrooms. Well, it won't be
and heating.
But yes. So we don't like, we don't mind living in the lap of luxury every now and again. George and I decided that we would come on our own, and then Peta would join us later for the evening, and then she'd have to go again tomorrow. Unfortunately, there's not any other kids here, which is a pity. So problem number one was how to reverse onto the hitch without someone to guide you.
I guided him.
So you will have seen that we managed to do that using two phones calling each other on WhatsApp, one positioned on the hitch and one inside the car. And that worked beautifully. It really was cracking. If I'd remembered to have a proper car mount to put on the hitch, then it would have been even better rather than sticking it on a tripod. But overall it worked well, didn't it?
Yes.
We didn't bash Boris. Boris is Peta's car, so that would not have gone down well. So we did all that, got it all hooked up. Actually, driving makes no difference whether there's one or two. But there is one, I have a confession to make. And this will upset a lot of long-time caravanners.
Me?
Because when we were last here, I finally worked out how old Jackson's tyres are.
They're like 10 years
and
old or something.
I realised that there is writing on the side of tyres that's supposed to give you the year and month of manufacture. But the tyres that were on Jackson had no such numbers that I could see. They certainly weren't in the format I was expecting. And our mechanic and the person that sold it to us said they were fine. But, oh dear.
They weren't.
When I did discover the date, it took ages to find it amongst all the other numbers that are on the side of the tyres. And it turned out it was 2009 they were made.
9 years old.
Yeah. Now, to make matters worse, when we pulled away last time, Peta went up the slope and she stalled, which was quite funny. But I barely noticed that she'd stalled because I was watching the tyres. And when they went over, they've got an idiotic little speed bump halfway up the slope here. And you could see the tyres bowing. Now, had it not been the fact that we actually live 10 minutes from here, then I don't know what we did. We'd had to have got someone out. But anyway, lesson learned. So I know that you're supposed to replace them every 5 years. What we should have done in retrospect was to just
Replace them.
yeah, just buy. If I couldn't work it out, I should just have bought new tyres, and that's what I'll do next time. We used tyres on the drive, and they did a good job, and it was a decent price. I think it was about less than 120 quid for both tyres. That was great. So, and I will say that the drive here was easier because of it. We had noticed that Jackson tended to bounce around a bit, and because I'd never driven Caravan before, I didn't know why that was. But it sounds like it was because the tyre walls were weak. They were inflated to the right pressure. I'd at least got that right. But the tyre walls were weak, so it was much more bouncy. Whereas the journey we had here was significantly more pleasant. So anyway, George is bored. Why are you bored, George?
Because I don't have GarageBand to play on. That's it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's just bad luck, isn't it?
Well, you've got GarageBand on the iPad.
Yeah, well, I had to buy an iPad for business because I build websites, and I had a client that said that their site didn't work on an iPad, so reluctantly I bought an iPad, and even more reluctantly I revealed this fact to George. Now, to be fair to him, to say that he hasn't shut up about it would be an exaggeration, but he is likely to continue reminding me until he gets to go on it, but at some point I don't doubt I'll let him have a go. It's, as I said, it's unfortunate there's no kids here, and it is too hot to do any of the activities that we planned, like George has bought his golf stuff because
I like golf.
George's other passion, apart from making music, is...
And drumming, most.
Is?
Golf.
And how did that come about?
Well, it was my birthday last week. Actually, it was this week.
Yeah.
It was my birthday this week, and for my birthday, Rob, who is my friend's dad, and my friend and me, we all went top golfing. Do you know what top golfing is?
Top golfing, George.
I hope all of you are saying yes. But if you are saying no, then I'll explain it for you real quick. So top golfing is, you've got a driver, which is a golf club if some of you don't know, and you have to hit the golf ball, which has a long range rubber tee. You have to hit the golf ball, and you have to get it into a hoop. No, a target, which are like these big nets.
And where are you when you're doing this?
In top golf.
Yeah, but where? What is the special feature of top golf?
You've got to go high up. You've got to go real high.
So you're above. Are you above a driving range?
Yeah.
What are you on top of?
Well, we're on top of, driving range.
So it's like driving range with targets. Sounds quite good.
It is really good. Yeah. And we also went adventure golfing.
Yes,
so yeah, now I've got...
so now George, that's George's new obsession.
Now I've got a couple of balls, a driver, and a putter, and some practice balls, a lot of practice balls, and a putting mat.
And we've bought the thin aero balls with us because obviously we don't want George chipping actual golf balls, because that really would... We've got them hidden around the back because obviously technically you're not meant to have ball games here, but as I said, we brought the aero balls and he's only really got a putter and a little chipping thing, and we're in a corner, and he's only doing it round the back, so that there's no chance of the balls going anywhere near. At the moment, however, it's too hot to be doing anything. So that's George's new obsession. There is actually an adventure golf near where we live, so no doubt he and I will go there at some point, or him and his mates, if I can get away with it. Anyway, so that's that. I'm going to get on. Peter's going to be back, hopefully, what is it now? Hopefully within an hour, by which time she'll expect dinner to have been made.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we're going to give the dogs a quick walk, and then we shall enjoy a hot evening. See you soon.
I'll see you soon. Bye. My name's George, and welcome back to another George vlog. Yeah, the name's work in progress, but these are just bit from a child's perspective. Now some children may get bored while they're camping. I am one of those children. And even though there is a lot to do when other children are around, there's not a lot to do when there aren't a lot of children around that I can hang out with, sadly. And yeah, I'm a bit tired really, and it's too hot to do any of the activities. I've brought like my putting mat, and my golf sticks and stuff, and yeah, it's a bit too hot to do stuff like that.
Hello, well George and I are just driving back from... Where are we driving back from, George?
The Lavender Fields.
Which is where...
Peta's working.
Yeah, she's been working this weekend. They have 4 open days every year, and this was the second of them, and she's helping with the catering for all 4 days, while George and I doss around in the caravan. We thought we'd show willing today, didn't we, George?
Yes.
So we went to see how she's getting on, and of course enjoy cream tea.
Oh, yes.
George and I recorded a segment in the car on our way back from seeing Peta at the Lavender Fields near Selborne, which is near Alton. But the video cut out because apparently it's not a great idea to be running Google Maps in the background while trying to record a video. Who'd have thought it? And my phone gave up. So anyway, I was recounting my genius idea for getting the most out of weekends, because during the school term time, if we want to get away for a weekend, that means picking George up at, well, he comes out of school just after 3. The earliest we could get to the closest site, which is this one, would be 4:30, 5 o'clock. Well, given that you're allowed on site here by 12, that means we've effectively lost 5 hours that we've paid for. So I was umming and ahhing about this whilst in the car some time ago, and I thought, if only we could go on Saturdays, because if we went on Saturdays, we can be there by 12 o'clock sharp. We can be on our pitch by 20 past, up and running within an hour of that, and in the summer that means we've got easily 8 or 9 hours, or certainly 4 hours more than we would have had if we'd come on the Friday. So then we would have basically most of a usable day on Saturday and a whole usable day on Sunday, when a lot of people are heading off, so the site tends to be a bit quieter anyway. The problem with that, of course, is that George has to go to school on Mondays. And like a bolt out of the blue, it occurred to me, why shouldn't he go to school from here? It takes about 25 minutes to get to George's school from here, so tomorrow we're giving it a try. We're going to see whether we're able to get up early. Well, we're going to have to be. We will get up and we'll get George to school on time. Let's see if he's as animated as that when it's time to go to school tomorrow. One of us will take George to school while the other gets the caravan ready, and then the other one will come back. We'll take the caravan with us as early as possible. We'll probably be leaving the site by 10, I should think, at the very latest, which means we can be back home by 11, having left the caravan at the storage site. And it does mean working a bit late on Monday for us, but we get the benefit of having, and well, of course we lose a couple of hours on Monday, but swings and roundabouts, the swings are greater than the roundabouts because we gain 5 hours on the Friday. So let's see whether this works tomorrow. Well, we're just back at the lock-up. I think I had some fun getting the caravan back in. I'm still struggling with working out the best technique for getting a caravan into a narrow storage space. It seems to me the only way to do it at all comfortably is to do it as straight as possible. The problem with that is that there's usually caravans opposite, so that becomes extremely difficult. I don't see how, I mean, you would only have inches to spare if you had to go back at any sort of significant angle. Anyway, so I've had the pleasure of pulling Jackson back solo, because Peta well, she actually had this car. This is not the car we pulled Jackson with. So we had to drive back separately, which was interesting to be on my own pulling Jackson. I'm a little bit bothered by the side wind that you get on big roads when people go by. Our mechanic recommended we have a place for a blade stabiliser to go. We have the slot on the hitch is there, but we don't have a blade stabiliser for our car. So, but I'm going to have to think about that. We'll see anyway. I don't know. He told me that they're better than the friction pad ones, but you know, let me know what you think. I'd have thought the friction pad ones would be significantly better than nothing. But anyway, so George got taken to school. That wasn't a problem. It turns out it's about an hour's round trip, so it's not going to be something we're going to be doing all the time. It's now about 11 o'clock. And Jackson's put away and I'm heading home to get on with some work. But otherwise it worked really well. We had a nice weekend. It was baking. I've always promised that I will never complain about hot weather, but it got a bit close at the weekend because it was too hot really to do anything. Not something we're used to in the UK. But Morn Hill was fantastic as usual. We managed to get our favourite spot despite it being fully booked. Quite why nobody else likes that spot as much as we do, I've no idea. Maybe because it has no shade whatsoever. So maybe that was it. Otherwise it was a huge success, and we're not now off for a little while, and it may well be, in fact it almost certainly will be, that our next trip is our big trip, at least for us, where we'll be travelling. I mean, oh yes, okay, feel free to laugh. We're travelling about 100 miles, which I estimate is a journey that we've done when camping before with a tent on the top, and it would take a comfortable 2 hours in the car. So I'm expecting it to take 3 hours with Jackson on the back, which I am not looking forward to. But it has to be done, and at least when we get there, we'll be staying for 5 nights, which is our longest trip so far. And I'm really looking forward to that, because it's going back to an area that we lived in for quite some time. We've still got family there and lots of friends there, so it'll be quite a different experience, a much busier experience, a much more sociable experience, which Peter will probably enjoy more than me. So anyway, that's our weekend. I found Jackson. It's amazing what a difference those new tyres have made. It isn't my imagination, but the Caravan doesn't bounce around to the extent that it did before. And of course, never having had a Caravan before, I didn't know what was normal. Didn't feel like it was right to me. But putting the new tyres on, I mean, that just suggests to me how bad the old tyres were, and that actually we were pretty lucky. So live and learn. Fortunately, live and learn. But we will, obviously, anyone else who asks, we would recommend changing their tyres on purchasing the Caravan unless you have proof that the tyres themselves are new, or pretty new. But if they're showing 3 or 4 years old, I'd just get them replaced. I don't think I'll mess around again. But that was a lovely weekend. We'll be back soon.